puzzles that you find on YouTube. It's like Hulk, Harley, Superman 4. Oh my God. The Incredible Hulk is going to be teaming up with Harley Quinn and Superman 4. No, wait, that doesn't make sense.
See, for me, it looks like Superman's like a newscaster.
I mean,
Yeah.
he was in the comic
Action
books.
4.
WGBS, man. Galaxy Broadcasting.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Remind me to tell you guys what I think about that commercial every time it plays, since Jeremy's been sharing brownies. Anyway, my name's Leon. I'm Monkey Behind the Keyboard. We got an awesome show scheduled for you tonight. As always, Mr. Brandon.
Hey, what's happening, Leo? I hope everybody out there is having a good Wednesday.
Oh yeah, hump day. Woo. Mike. Hey, yo.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, man.
Hello, everyone.
Now I'm embarrassed to say it.
Oh, you're the one that brought it up, pal, not us.
I don't know why, and I'm blaming Jar Jar's brownies, but all my coffee bring the zombies to the yard.
Christ on a cracker.
They're like, it's better.
I mean, I could teach you all about it, but I'd have to charge.
Yeah. Well, thank Jar Jar for that.
I don't think I'm picking your brain for that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, actually, I don't want to thank anybody for it, to be perfectly honest. As a matter of fact, no thank you.
Yeah. I agree.
Seconded.
So I don't think it's on your list, but what do you think?
Your kiss?
On your list.
Hey, shh, don't sing it. Copyright.
The Superman and Lois.
Oh yeah, I was gonna put that, but I was trying to strike a bit of a balance because you gave us a fucking weird ass time constraint. Like, never in my life on the Dorkening in the past like year and a half that I've been doing this with you guys have I been given the instruction like you were the proctor for an exam in high school. We were like, listen, we have this much time to do it, and I'm like, have you have you ever watched or paid attention to the fucking show you've been on? Like an hour?
I have.
Sure, that sounds like Mario and his brother Luigi taking a fucking snooze while they're working on plumbing in fucking whatever, I don't know, Mushroom Land. A pipe dream, pal.
Well, I kind of figured set it for an hour. I know it's going to be running a little later than that, but it's just
If I say an hour out loud, then it makes me feel better when it goes an hour and 40 minutes. Hiya, Sammy. How you doing?
I had George Lowe yell at me this weekend.
Well, I mean, you probably deserved it.
I did.
What happened?
So, if you don't know, he's the voice of Space Ghost Coast to Coast, and so we're running the panel, and the mics were a little touchy that they provided. So I'm keeping an eye on, like the gain, and he started peaking big time. So I lowered it, and all of a sudden he's like, "What happened to my mic? You touched it!" And he pointed at me.
What happened to my mic? No one can hear me.
So I got my headphones on. I thought like I could hear him fine, but I thought nobody else could. So I turned it back up, and but he was overpowering the mic on purpose.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and that's how he did like the whole interview, like super loud. But he's like,
"Would you like to see me destroy your microphone?"
Well,
Oh, Space Ghost, too bad.
this
well, no, I mean it was great how he was working with the crowd, because like somebody walked in, while it was going on, and he goes, "Oh, look, my son Meek," or whatever he said. Yeah.
well, the sound reverberations for certain events that were going on at the convention I was at, it was scheduled in a right way where sounds weren't going to interact with other sounds, because they had a main stage where they had like an auction, they had Press Your Luck and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and stuff, and live bands, but then you had wrestling on the other, like across the way, and then next to that you had the Tetris World Championship qualifier, which I sent you guys the final seconds on the group chat. Fucking phenomenal. But then across the way from that was all the free play games, the tournaments and the pinball and all that stuff, which back all the way in the back where you're loading for the day and the weekend, that's where all the sounds were. But towards the front of the convention was all the more quiet, because it was all the vendors, the guests, us, it was all. But
So is the ceiling curved in such a way, like if you stand in one spot, since it's a Comic-Con, you stand in that one spot and you can hear George R.R. Martin crying because he can't finish the last book?
Yes, that's exactly right. Nailed it. What do you call this shape? Oh, we call it the Martin Cry shape.
I'm waiting for him to just say, "It's coming, it's coming, it's coming."
This Christmas,
like season 2 of House of Dragon. It's coming.
House of the. Oh, you mean Hot D?
Yeah, Hot D.
Everybody loves watching that Hot D on HBO.
Have you guys watched it?
No.
Nope.
Why would I? I know how the story ends. Hey, spoiler alert: Bran becomes king.
I mean, who's watching HBO Max with all the bullshit they're doing right now?
I mean, I'm still watching HBO Max.
I mean, I am too, but
So, what the fuck?
Who's watching? I am.
I mean, who's even watching this bullshit? I am.
no
Well,
one's
I am
gonna watch
too.
that girl, but
I mean, there's been some actual like factual reporting on the movie, and like straight up like it's been very fair insofar as the assessment of the movie itself. From what I've seen, they're saying like, listen, it's not that it was a bad movie, it's just the fact that it was shot specifically for TV/streaming.
Yeah.
And that's the main reason why they decided to write it off rather than try to pour more money into it to get it up to par for being able to be released theatrically. I get that, because it was spend more money or write off what you can to continue on with what it is you're trying to do for saving the money that you lost due to the merger. That it makes perfect sense. I get it. Like financially, it sucks creatively because a lot of people worked on it, but thankfully the people who did work on it, they had the job. They got paid, it's not like they were starving because of it. And I know that's like cold comfort, especially for people who are creative, because part of the point is to have people see your work. I completely agree with that and understand it. But unfortunately, we're looking at an amalgamation of creativity and financial goings on. So there has to be some kind of compromise / loss in the middle. And unfortunately, Batgirl was right there, just like that Scoob sequel was as well. It's the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. They're trying to focus on theatrical stuff, and that's clearly going to be the case once they've finished a lot of their housekeeping.
Yeah.
There's stuff that needs to get tidied up and tied and tightened. And until we get to that point, you're just going to keep hearing all about how, oh, Warner Brothers Discovery is a huge clusterfuck. They don't know what they're doing. It's like, bro, this is like week 3. Are you for real? Like, I don't think it's going to go the way you're saying a year from now. Like, you have to give it time to grow into the space it's starting to occupy. Just saying.
Well, I think, as we know, with any sort of like dorky news, there's always going to be the negative naysayers, And I think that's what we're getting a lot with with HBO, where when you hear stuff directly from Zaslav, it sounds like he has a good head on his shoulders, and we're hopeful that everything's being pruned for a reason. But then, you get these, articles from, these random comic book sites, just calling End of the World. Oh, he's going to turn it into Lifetime Channel or something like that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, HBO Max is just going to be reduced to a button on Discovery Plus. No, I don't think so.
Why would they do that?
Yeah, exactly. Why? Like, yeah. Oh, what's he gonna do for an encore to that? Is he gonna stand outside in the parking lot and burn a trash bag full of $20 bills? Get fucking real, all right? I think honestly, like, insofar as like talking about comic book geekdom and Warner Brothers, HBO, and all that stuff, there's a 10-year plan that he stated. Like we are looking at that, and I don't blame him for saying simply like we have a plan, like we're trying to institute, and that's it, because people don't need to know the play-by-play. And it's ridiculous to me that people are like, well, why won't he outline it? It's like, because it's none of your fucking business.
Internal plan.
Yeah, it's part of their whole company infrastructure and hierarchy. They are going to figure it out themselves. They're not looking for feedback from outside sources. They are trying to take care of it on their own, which is exactly what a business should be doing. However, this is speculation on my part. Full speculation, just from everything I've been reading. And I'm starting to think that maybe a big part of their 10-year plan is, especially because the name Marvel came into the conversation, the discussion, like a couple of times, which, it's refreshing to see them actually like address, the direct competition there. Like say like, yeah, no, they've done a great job and we need to follow suit. None of this like, oh, we're going to try to do something different, or we're going to try to, shift the game plan and make it look like we're doing what they're doing without saying we're doing what they're doing. Everybody's too savvy for that nowadays. But my thought is, I have a feeling that part of what they're going to do to differentiate themselves from Disney / Marvel Studios is, I would not be surprised to see that Peacemaker is pretty much going to be your only DCEU television show. I have a feeling that they're going to keep everything up on the silver screen. It makes far more sense, because one of the things that you can absolutely say that has worked against Marvel now is the sheer amount of homework you have to do in order to be able to continue on with any other new project.
Yeah.
And if you keep it condensed, well, not condensed, but focused on your features, that makes it a hell of a lot easier for people to keep track of and to sit down and watch like a couple hours, as opposed to 6 hours of a show in order to watch an hour and a half long movie that comes out 3 months later.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to be canceling all DC TV?
No.
You're not
What I'm
gonna
saying.
cancel
What I'm
things that aren't
saying is,
profitable.
there's not going to be anything that's tied into interconnectivity.
Okay.
So I don't think that they're opposed to the right projects, but I think when it comes to the movies, they're going to keep them as the movies. And then if there are any other shows, any projects that become television shows or anything like that, it's going to be its own thing. You look at it as sort of an anthology at that point, but it doesn't matter for what you're actually going to see on the big screen. And I think just based on what we've seen so far, that might not be a bad plan.
Yeah.
So
End up with another like Agatha show for some godforsaken reason. That's
Yeah, like that's the thing. I love Catherine Hahn. I do. I think she's an incredibly talented performer. I've always enjoyed watching her work. But when they
Don't see the
announced
point of it.
an Agatha Harkness spin-off show from WandaVision, I was just like, what? Everyone's like, but they loved her. I'm like, in context of the show that they just watched, like, maybe if you try to make that character work for a longer stretch of time instead of the spurts you got, you may find that the character wears out their welcome pretty quickly.
I mean, I agree with you, Brandon. I really like Catherine Hahn as an actress, and I'm really looking forward to seeing her in Glass Onion in December.
Yeah, honestly, like I'll watch pretty much anything she does.
Yeah,
I will watch Harkness or whatever the hell it's going to be called. But
as much as I love Knives Out,
I'm
really looking forward to the sequel. So
yeah, Glass Onion is going to be great, and yeah, I agree. I'm very trepidatious. Like I'm being very cautious when it comes to how this project could play out. If it's great, awesome. I'm not saying it's going to be terrible. I'm saying people need to prepare themselves for the possibility that it's not going to be as great as the sum of its parts. It's I don't know. It's taking a very secondary / tertiary character from a show that did still actually end up dividing the fan base a bit, and saying like, hey, here's an entire show dedicated to just her. It's like, but I mean, we got her backstory quickly in the other show, and we saw her get sort of banished or whatever by Scarlet Witch. I don't know how much more we need to like stretch that out and pull out right away, like right now, but we'll see what happens.
I mean, what could it set up? That's the thing that I'm curious about. See, that's
I mean, the only way I can think of it being
she got the Darkhold
beneficial, not even the Darkhold, that she's the one that ends up bringing Wanda back or saving Wanda at Wundagore Mountain.
But she's not dead.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't know what happened straight away when everything crumbled.
Yeah, you saw the red. She's not dead.
But she might be gravely injured. Who knows?
True.
And that you got to remember, in the comic books, Agatha Harkness is the one who trained Wanda Maximoff to be in the dark arts, in magic. So that may be how they kind of tie it in with the end of Multiverse of Madness coming into this Harkness show. I don't know. I mean, I'm just a fat guy with a Batman shirt on. You know what I mean? What the hell
she somehow created that red thing that the Flash you saw, like when everything's crumbling.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I'd say it was Wanda, but Wanda may be in an incredibly weakened state. Like, she may not even be able to like truly save herself if she was able to get out at the last second. She might have still gotten pretty badly injured, Yeah. So I mean, we'll see. And, Catherine Hahn is an incredible talent, like I said. So I know that no matter what she does, she's going to bring her A game. I worry about
the script back it up.
Exactly.
Well, just to keep on subject, just for a quick second, when we're talking about cancellations and everything, my thought was if they're moving away from TV just to like cleanse the palate for a little bit, because a lot of people did get burnt out on Berlantiverse, and maybe he thinks that could be like a dark shadow on DC TV. Maybe just, nix
Maybe.
as much as he can, cleanse the palate like they did with Star Trek. Star Trek got, really oversaturated for a while, and they just, took some time off, cleansed everybody's palate. Same with unfortunately Game of Thrones,
I will say the slight difference with Star Trek, and that's a great example. It's a fantastic example because there were several shows all airing within the same decade. And even when those finished, we got another one right after it on UPN of all places, and that disappeared. And
Another prime example is Stargate.
but what I was going to say is the thing about the Star Trek shows is part of the reason for them flooding the market with that altogether is that Star Trek was, since The Next Generation, was made specifically for syndication, not any particular network. And the trick of that, and it's brilliant contractually and financially, is that if you wanted to have the new Star Trek show, you also had to sign to be able to play old shows as well. So that way you had a whole block of Star Trek shows that you had to show in order to justify the money that you spent on the new one. So that's why we had a glut and a lot of repeats, and it seemed like you were constantly seeing Voyager on stuff back in the 90s. I know that was the case for me. I never watched an episode. I was like, how is this fucking show on like every other station? I don't get it. But
it's the same with Stargate. It was, you had the movie in the 90s, then you had SG-1, and God knows when, then you had Atlantis after that, I think, whichever came before. Sammy's gonna kill me because I don't remember which. She loves those
it's Atlantis and then Universe.
Okay, I'm not sure where SG-1 falls in that fuckery. So
SG-1,
yeah, you had it right.
And Stargate Atlantis, and then Stargate
Universe. Okay, so
holy crap, there was 3 Stargate TV series.
Yeah, I mean the first one I used to get the biggest kick out of when it would show on syndication because I didn't have Showtime when I was in high school. Because that's what it was originally on. I was like, oh, look at this. It's the poor man's Fantastic Four. This is fun. Like, really, break it down. Look at them. They are the poor man's oh, look, it's the Fantastic Four with better writing, but not as great a budget as Roger Corman's movie. Outstanding. But yeah, talking about TV and all that, you were bringing it up at the very beginning of this, and I'm sorry for going on a bit of a tangent with it.
It's okay. That's what
Superman and Lois.
Yes.
The actor who plays Jonathan Kent, one of the twin boys of Lois and Clark. What's his name? Jordan Elsass. He has left the show, and he cited personal health reasons for him doing so. And you know what? More power to him. If he realized that he wasn't in the right headspace and it was starting to hurt him both mentally and physically, then he's thinking about it the right way, and he clearly has the right people in his corner. I hope that whatever issues he's dealing with, he is able to do so and do so safely. But of course, that leaves a hole in the cast insofar as what they're going to do about the second Kent son. There's been nothing said at all so far, just the announcement that he's out, and that's where they've left it, which is really saying something because, with the Arrowverse or CWverse, however you want to brand it, Superman and Lois having been made essentially like after all of that and the Flash finally ending next season. Funny enough, Superman and Lois is the best show that they ever made on the CW with any of those superpowered characters. And now, of course, it looks like it's in jeopardy because they lost one of their excellent bits of casting that they did for it. We'll find out what happens. They've subverted so many of my expectations in the show itself. Let's see them do it in real life now.
Well, so the big question is, I mean, the new season, I'm assuming, is starting soon.
That would
Ish.
be likely, yeah.
Has he filmed anything for season 3? Or is it going to be starting off and, he disappeared?
I don't know. Let me call my guys in Vancouver real quick. Hey, man. I don't know. I mean, if he did shoot anything, I don't think that would necessarily be usable. The only thing I can think of, this was just my own, and of course, I know it sounds very like Who Shot JR, Dallas, and 60s Silver Age comic book type stuff, but I'm thinking maybe they do something in show in the story to change Jonathan's appearance and how people perceive him due to the fact that Bizarro Jonathan came over and everybody fucking saw him.
They can just get his actor.
What? Get whose actor? The one that we're talking about who left the show?
I think the brownies are kicking in, Brandon.
Am I dead?
But the Bizarro version.
The Bizarro, Christ on it. But yeah, I'm thinking that they might. Jesus, Leo. I'm thinking that they might try to do a whole like, oh, it's a different actor but the same character by way of protecting the character's identity due to the doppelgangers coming over from Bizarro World.
Instead of Kryptonite, it could be Darrenite.
Darrenite? Why would it be Darrenite? What's that? What the fuck, Leo? Okay.
I think Steve was right there. Just saying.
I don't know. Man.
They'd pull a Darren.
Oh, okay. Bewitched. I get it. Oh, the two Darrens. Dick Sargent and Dick York. Okay, I got you. Darren.
The kiddos. Back when TV was in black and white.
Is it just me or does Darren look different?
There was Bewitched, and they changed the main actor like mid-season or something like that, or after.
No,
You could have also go
series.
like Roseanne and Fresh Prince.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, what's her name? Sarah Chalk was Second Becky. That was actually her nickname on the set of Scrubs was Second Becky, because she came in and replaced Lacey Goranson on Roseanne, who ended up coming back for the revamp / the Connors. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll find out. I'm sure they'll figure it out. I would be honestly surprised too if whatever it is they're trying to do to quote right the ship for Warner Brothers DC properties and material, insofar as like big screen or whatever projects, like media projects. I would be honestly very surprised if they don't involve Greg Berlanti in some capacity, because the guy has clearly shown a propensity towards these characters, and I never thought I would say that about the guy who fucking co-wrote the movie Green Lantern, but he obviously like knew how he wanted to approach these characters, and for a limited budget on a third or fourth run network, I mean, they were knocking it out of the park for television adventures of superheroes for over a decade. So there's something to that.
Tom Morris says maybe have Jonathan show how wind up in the Phantom Zone, and Superman is finding a way to get him out.
That's not a bad idea, but you still have to have the payoff. You have to have him get Jonathan out. It can't be something that's just indefinite. There's no way you could make a believable Superman story where Superman and Lois, Clark and Lois, are just like, well, at least we still have one of our kids. Like, I don't know that they would be that fatalist about it, to be perfectly honest. Superman wouldn't stop until he finally got his son out of the Phantom Zone.
Yeah.
So you would still end up needing to recast it if, Jordan Elsass didn't come back. And if they tried to tease that out over like several seasons, people would not appreciate it.
Oh yeah. What the fuck did that? Walking Dead. What was his name?
I don't know, dude. I stopped watching it when they showed up at Terminus. Soon as Rick was like, "They're screwing with the wrong people," I was like, "Yeah, maybe they are. I'm never gonna find out." Click.
Invincible.
What about Invincible?
The voice actor.
Oh,
Steven.
Steven Yeun.
Yes.
So his character, I think it was for like a full season or like a season and a half, or he was like under a dumpster. Like they made it look like he was dead.
That long.
Well, it feels long, but it was a
Yeah,
long.
I'm pretty sure you're suffering from time dilation at the moment, Leo. So.
That could be, yes. We also mentioned that in the beginning. I started talking about Hot D. So none of you have watched it.
I'm gonna leave this conversation now.
Yeah, right. I mean, no, I haven't watched it, but if you want to talk about it, go right ahead.
Well, I'm gonna say it's having been, like most of us, feeling absolutely burned from Game of Thrones season 7 and 8. Going back into that world, it's feeling okay. We're only 2 episodes in. The only major complaint I have right now is the what the fuck? They use the same. Well, you can't see anything. Like at night, you still can't see anything.
Well, they're
Well,
trying to hide
man,
the
it just
Starbucks.
means you need to like change the settings on your TV, man.
It's like when you're playing Skyrim 5 and you the day goes to night and you can't see shit. So yeah, same thing.
Yeah, it sounds exactly like when I play Skyrim 5 because when I sit down and I'm like Skyrim 5 is on the screen, I'm like, why the fuck am I playing Skyrim 5? And then I shut it off.
What is Skyrim 5?
It's the game that comes right after Skyrim 4.
So there was a Skyrim 4?
Nope, they went right from 2 to 5.
Well, I'm just curious.
They're trying to hide the Starbucks.
Well,
Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Elder Scrolls
it's
5.
Elder
Skyrim.
Scrolls 5 Skyrim.
Skyrim. Yes.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
It's not
Okay.
Skyrim 5.
I don't
Elder
fucking know,
Scrolls
dude.
5.
I have no
Jeez.
idea. I was just jumping off what Steve said. That's all.
But
I had
anyway,
I had the logo in my head, and I'm thinking Skyrim, and then there was a 5 in the background. I was just like thinking Skyrim 5, and then I realized I fucked up with that. So
How's the kerning on the logo in your head? Is like evenly spaced or no? Okay, never mind. Yeah, honestly, if I can't speak to the quality of what the show looks like, how the cinematography. Honestly, I have a hard time getting into it at all because I was hard pressed to start watching Game of Thrones to begin with, and like I got into it, but not like I wasn't heavily invested in the show. So when it ended the way it did for me, I was like, well, that's that then. No big deal. I just moved on and kept living my life.
I mean, I haven't seen a single episode. I know I should. I mean,
of Game of Thrones.
yeah, Game of Thrones.
What were you gonna say, Yo-Yo?
Do you have to?
Exactly.
Yeah, the first
No,
first 6
you
seasons,
do not.
The first 6 seasons are so amazing, but then when you finish 7 and 8, you're like, well, why didn't
All right,
they finish
I'm gonna say something right now that
Yeah.
I will put it into perspective. Okay, I sat down once with a friend of mine who was like, "You have to see this movie. I love this movie. It's so good. It's a zombie movie, and you're just really gonna really enjoy it, I think." And I was like, "Okay, cool." Like he didn't build it up too much, but he was just like, "I really like it, and I think it's really good. I think you'll like it." Okay. And we sat down and we watched it. And I'm not going to say the name of the movie because I know there are a lot of people out there that have an affinity for it. It's not necessarily as popular as you may think. But I watched it and we got through to the credits and I looked at him and I said, that movie was absolutely fucking terrible. And what he said to me was, yeah, but like that scene at the end where all the zombies like rise up and come at them and stuff, like that last like 15, 20 minutes is fucking incredible. I'm like, bro, that was an hour and a half long movie. The last 20 minutes being like looking good does not forgive the rest of the story being fucking terrible. All right.
Is John
It's the
Leguizamo in this
same-
movie?
What's that?
Is John Leguizamo in this movie?
No.
Okay.
It's an older movie. It's an older movie.
Okay.
Are we talking like 70s old or 80s old?
70s, 80s. But it's not a guessing game, kids. I'm trying to make a point.
Too late.
All right. It's children shouldn't play with dead things. All right. The movie, like, listen, the makeup and everything at the end, I get it.
Never heard of it.
I totally get
I
it.
personally like that movie, so
Yeah, see, but like, let's be real. The last 20 minutes is the most bombastic and engaging portion of that movie. The rest of it is legs. It's not really a good story at all. It's the exact inverse with Game of Thrones. If you have 6 seasons that are really good, but then the last 2, which is what you leave the story with, drop the ball completely and fuck it all up, is it really a good story? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's well.
I'm sorry, Leo. I'm not trying to burst bubbles.
I totally agree with you. You know, it had such promise. But the thing is, you know, you have one character that, you know, ends up going for this training that she almost dies for. And, you know, she learns this special skill. And within the last 2 seasons, you think, oh, yes, this is how they're going to do it. Or, you know.
But that is how she did it.
She only did it once. What
do you mean she did it once? What are you talking about? You're talking about Arya, right?
Yeah.
Dude, she was what?
She.
Hold on, wait. Do you not know how she got up to the Night King to stab him and kill him?
Was that through the face?
Yeah.
Really?
She disguised herself as one of his generals.
Okay.
Change the fucking settings on your television, Leo. Brighten that shit up. Okay. Rewatch that episode. I'm telling you, pay attention to Arya. It'll blow your fucking mind. I'm not saying it'll change the entire course of the last couple seasons for you, but that piece in particular, I will tell you, she did use those skills to kill the Night King.
Okay.
And believe me, I'm the last person in the world to fucking stand in defense of Game of Thrones. Like, if you loved it, fantastic. I'm not saying I hate it. It's just I watched it. That's all it was. Like, oh, that's a show. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know a lot of people were very put out by how it ended. It seemed incredibly anticlimactic / lackluster.
People say the same thing about Sopranos.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fact. But you know, if people are enjoying Hot D, and from what I understand, there's quite a lot of people that enjoy Hot D, and the show on HBO Max as well. And you know,
I have to say the dragons are really cool. The daylight scenes are awesome, and the story's been, you know, it's been interesting so far.
Yeah, I'm glad that the people that I've seen who enjoy Game of Thrones have been really digging this show so far, and that's great. You know, far be it for me to yuck anybody's yum. Keep on watching it. I hope that it ends up being everything you want it to be, minus the fact that it's still not going to change the end of the show that came before it, that this is a prequel to. Like, please remember that.
I know.
So I know it's part of our main event tonight, but I wanted to poll everyone a question. I know we're going to talk about No Way Home, but along with No Way Home being, they're releasing a No Way Home with special scenes, but along with, it's going to be a big weekend for box office, they're re-releasing Jaws in IMAX. And there's I wanted to pull a question to all of you. obviously we know Top Gun Maverick is beating obviously it just beat Avengers Endgame as like the sixth highest grossing movie of all time. Now with Spider-Man No Way Home, extra scenes, whatever you want to call it, being released this week, do you think, obviously people are speculating it's going to go neck and neck with Top Gun Maverick. Do you think it could take Top Gun Maverick off its shelf? With the amount of money No Way Home made, obviously the money that No Way Home will accrue, will that be added to the box office it made back in December?
I mean, it will be added to the box office it made back in December, no matter what.
Same movie, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe.
I know we're going to talk about the No Way Home Part 2, but I just want to know if you guys, what you guys thought of that, because
honestly,
I don't care.
Without being flippant, I don't think of it. I mean, when it comes to placeholders for highest grossing movie, this, that, or the other thing, I have no dog in that fight, no horse in that race whatsoever. Like, it doesn't matter to me how well a movie does altogether for me to like enjoy it or bring it up in conversation.
Well, no, I'm just amazed that Top Gun Maverick has been doing so well.
Well, then say that. You know what I mean?
know. I just, now that they're doing the Spider-Man No Way Home thing this weekend, and then Jaws is getting their IMAX release, do you think that's all I was curious about?
I mean people love Spider-Man, and the fact that, you know, and spoiler alert for anybody that's been living under a fucking rock in a cave on Mars, but having all three iterations of the live action actors who portrayed Peter Parker and Spider-Man in one movie, that was a big deal leading up to its release. At this point, we all know.
$3 movie night this weekend for any movie theater as well. That's probably gonna increase as well.
Yeah, they had a horrible weekend last weekend, so theater's dead.
Yeah, I mean, what do you expect?
I mean, Regal's going bankrupt, so they filed for Chapter 11.
Well, I mean,
That's
more there's been a fucking pandemic. Let's go sit in a dark room with fucking 100 other strangers for the next 2 hours. Yeah, that sounds enticing.
It definitely has to be a special movie for a lot of people to see, and obviously, Top Gun is
you're mixing up your stuff, man.
Hot shots, yes.
But you guys are mentioning this, and Leo mentioned it. The No Way Home. I want to know what these special scenes are. What's going on?
We'll see what the special scenes are.
You know what? That's why you need to go see the movie again.
Yeah, or wait till it's on video. You know, it'll be.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
I saw the movie once in theaters, and that was enough for me.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's already getting, you know, some negative slack, like the after credit scene.
Why?
People are saying it's like a downer, and it's like, have you never read a Spider-Man comic before? Because I mean, I got news for everybody out there. Like, and I know, like, you know, just because you like the films doesn't mean you read the comics or like the comics, and that's fine. But you have to understand, like, for 80 years, Spider-Man has been around. Right, since the 60s, and we're in 2022 now.
Yeah,
just about 80 years. And in that time, I mean, Spider-Man is defined by his reaction to tragic events that surround him. His whole taking on the role of Spider-Man as a hero is born from the guilt that he holds on to, because he could have stopped the guy who robbed the wrestler, you know, the wrestling place that he was at. And this is what really happened in the comics, not the Sam Raimi movie. The robber fled, and he actually broke into Peter Parker's house looking for a place to hide, and shot and killed Uncle Ben in their kitchen. That's how Uncle Ben actually died. And that's when Peter goes out, finds the guy, yada yada, and then he decides, like, oh, with great power must also come great responsibility. this is what I'm supposed to do with these. I need to make up for how selfish I was by helping others with these abilities I now have.
Say it again. Say it again.
With great power, there must also come great responsibility. Not with great power comes great responsibility. Not the fucking case. If with great power came great responsibility, there would be no such thing as a fucking villain. Just saying. But the first two Spider-Man movies in the MCU, that is not canonically Spider-Man as we know him throughout the years. We've seen nothing to indicate how he gets to the point where he is going to be a superhero other than just some sort of like hero worship for the Avengers / Tony Stark. And they bypass the tragedy of losing Ben and immediately turn Tony Stark into a father figure. And even there, they dropped the ball because they could have played up the fact that they are both orphans, both suffered tragic losses of their parents, but nothing, none of that. And it wasn't until we got to No Way Home that everything clicked for the people who were actually like writing it and creating it, where they're like, oh, maybe we should have this kid actually be Peter Parker Spider-Man, like have him make his own suit and have to deal with issues and like rent and how he's going to eat. What's he going to do to afford books for school? He doesn't have anybody to really help him. You know, we haven't seen him hold a job, let alone for the Daily Bugle or any other media company, nothing like that. But we've seen J. Jonah Jameson show up and be a mouthpiece against Spider-Man. Like there's all the superficial stuff that you think of with Spider-Man, like, oh, he has a suit, he can stick to walls, he can jump around, he has webs, there's J. Jonah Jameson, here's some of his villains. That's Spider-Man, right? That might be what you see on the cover of a Spider-Man comic book, but it's not the crux of who the character is. And the hope now, and I'm sure that this was the case for a lot of big spider heads out there, was at the end of No Way Home, when you see him go out into New York City in the wintertime, that we are actually going to get that Spider-Man moving forward in the MCU movies. So, make of it what you will. The fact is, if you think it's a downer because they kind of end it with like nobody remembers Peter and he's all on his own now, that is like the end of so many issues of Spider-Man throughout so many years. Just seeing the sheer number would make your head spin. So brace yourself. I'm just saying, like, I think the sunshiny, happy, like smart alecky Peter Parker may be getting tamped down a bit moving forward, which is great for character development, honestly.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see, Steve. We'll see how it pans out. If it makes bank, it makes bank. If it doesn't, I didn't make or lose any more money on it, so I'll sleep fine.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are just going to wait for, home video for that, hopefully it doesn't turn out to be another, like, it's webbing time.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Out of all the Marvel movies, that's the one movie I avoided.
I feel like he would be crawling a wall and he would say, it's sticky time.
I've avoided Morbius, and I'm glad I did, because people have been swearing up and down that movie, and I've avoided it.
I don't know. I feel like I now have to see it.
Yeah.
Like, I have to have my own opinion of why it sucks.
Well, do you remember seeing The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and when they did like that walk by all of the stuff at the end where they were clearly trying to set up, like, just inorganically trying to set up a Sinister Six movie? And like, as a movie and comic nerd in the audience, you would just like, that is terrible. I don't know why that makes me feel uncomfortable, but it does. Like, you could just tell it was just a soulless cash grab. If you can take that feeling and remember it, hold on to it, and then watch Morbius, by the time you get to the very end with the post-credit sequence, you'll be like, oh, there it is. Hello, my old friend. There's that emptiness I felt at the end of Spider-Man 2. Welcome back, Sony. You managed to do the same stupid fucking thing twice. Mazel tov.
Disney just needs to buy Sony and get it over with.
Oh, stop that! No.
No,
They do
no.
not make spies.
No.
Stop it. Yeah. Let's just all thumbs up Disney becoming a fucking monopoly. No, like I don't think so. I'm good. I'm still not thrilled that they bought Fox, to be perfectly honest. Not happy. Fucking dangerous, dude.
I know. But in the end result, we get, cool shit.
Yeah, we get Prey on Hulu. All right.
Yeah. So you brought up possibly Cavill and Affleck maybe back.
Yeah, there's a lot of commentary occurring right now that Ben Affleck, we do know that he came in and they did reshoots and they put him into a fair amount more of Aquaman 2. Seemingly kind of pushing the idea of Keaton being this like Nick Fury type character moving forward to the sidelines, which is fine by me. I don't want that at all. I don't want Michael Keaton trying to pull together and fucking do a shadow master thing with all these dancing puppets. I'm good. I'm good with that. I'd rather have Ben Affleck come back and be given another shot at playing Batman in something that's not a Zack Snyder movie. And all indications from several sources are that Cavill is in legitimate talks with Warner Brothers right now. And it came to light fairly recently that Shazam, the first movie, it wasn't a matter of money or disputes. It was scheduling. He couldn't be there. That's why they ended up having to show Superman from the neck down. And one of the points that was made was they designed a new suit for Shazam. If you look at it, you can tell it's a new suit. Why would they have designed a new suit for somebody other than Henry Cavill to play Superman, especially in that big cameo? I'm like, that's actually not a bad point. That's a lot of money to do that for somebody who's essentially going to be a stand-in. So they had to make a creative decision. They still really wanted to include that character beat for Freddy at the end of the movie. Considering that Dwayne Johnson has been fighting for Henry Cavill to play Superman still, and he's a pretty big deal. He's been working to get Black Adam made for a long time.
Yeah.
So he's clearly passionate about the project. I think that there's probably a 75% chance that we're going to see Henry Cavill continue on as Superman, which is fine by me. I have no problem with him playing the character. I want somebody to give him a chance to be as charismatic on screen as he is in real life, because we have yet to see that.
Yeah.
And actually construct Superman as a hero and character, as opposed to immediately deconstructing him from the moment he's on screen. Like there's no need for that. Don't let outside influences dictate how you approach the material in world for the story you're trying to create. Like, oh, people know it already, so I can do this. No. Pretend for a second that somebody's never fucking seen anything to do with this character before. Tell them this story. Don't tell it to the people that know it by heart. Tell it to the other people and still make it interesting enough for the people that do think they know it all. That's the trick.
So are you saying we need another Martha and
Yep, that's what I'm saying, Leo. I nailed it. I think we need another Martha. Why did you say that name scene?
another Wayne massacre,
Please show me the Waynes getting killed again. For the love of God, I haven't seen that enough. So wait, how did Bruce Wayne become Batman again? What was the driving force for that?
So do it in slow motion. I want to really feel it.
Whoa.
Oh shit! Here we go again.
But yeah, the other thing with both Cavill and Affleck coming back.
Yeah, I wanted you to go into detail on that, because that sounds
interesting.
Very interesting.
I think so. And honestly, like when I read it and the more I've been thinking about it, the more I'm like, that actually makes a lot of sense. Is that they'll both be back as Superman and Batman respectively, and that stemming from the events of the Flash. I'm not saying it occurs directly in that movie. I'm saying stemming from that movie, there's going to be a reset in the timeline that will bring them to just a little bit before the point of everything you see leading into like Batman v Superman and Justice League. So the team is never formed. There's no call put out to Darkseid because Superman was killed, and there's going to be a longer buildup to Batman pulling the team together with more / better options for members. And I find that to be very intriguing because why not? You know, you literally are gearing up for a tentpole movie with a guy who moves just as fast, if not faster than the speed of light, who can travel through time. And if we're seeing him in his own movie get to a point where, oh shit, something happened in this, and I don't know how I affected it, but Superman's not around, but his cousin is, and there's this other guy who's Batman, all right, that means he can affect the timeline. So why not have it be that it goes even back to like the end of Man of Steel, and instead of Superman snapping Zod's neck, he just incapacitates him, and that's where we see, you know, Superman actually being like, you know, I don't want to kill him. I'm not going to be responsible for killing one of the last people of my planet where I'm from originally, like where I'm from, because this is my planet. And that's where you see him utilize whatever in the Fortress of Solitude. Maybe we see the Phantom Zone for the first time, like legitimately.
Ooh.
Yeah, see, yeah.
I just had a silly thought of Flash coming and like just moving people out the damn way.
What if one of the key things he needs to do is save Robin?
Well, and that's the other thing too. Like, we could very well see that he saves Dick Grayson, and he somehow does something to get Superman to see that killing Zod is not the only way to stop him. You know, he could legitimately like knock him the fuck out and zap him into a phantom zone where he would be a prisoner.
Throw him in a
And
cellophane mirror and shoot him into space.
yeah, let's do that. But yeah, like I think that those ideas are solid enough, and you can set it up in such a way where it's not inorganic with what's about to happen anyway. And considering the amount of other stories that they're trying to tell with different characters, you know, Shazam, Black Adam, Aquaman 2, there's good reason for that to occur. And as far as I'm concerned, right now it's at a 0 point, so there's nowhere to go right now but up. You know, we need to be cautiously optimistic, hope for the best, you know, and you know, I really would like to see them kind of get something together where they're not just putting these characters in movies that are good, but get people who understand the characters that they're working on. You know, I think part of the reason why Marvel Studios has done so well, aside from the collaborative side of it, where it's just a concerted effort, is that the people who come in to work on these things, the directors, the crew, they know these characters, they know the story, and they legitimately are having just as much fun making it as audiences are watching it. That needs to come through. That's your verisimilitude with the Marvel movies. It's truthful to them. Like, we are having fun making these stories, and that's why so many of us have fun watching them. And fun is a tricky word because it's kind of become ubiquitous in how we describe Marvel movies. You know, maybe the better way to say it in regards to DC, because it provides a good contrast to how they've been portrayed so far, is more joyful movies. Like, let's have them be joyful. They don't need to be dour and downtrodden. You know, let's not confuse grit with dark and grimy. You know, your street level characters don't all need to look like they were pulled out of Batman 89. Just saying.
So do you think you know what, let's do this as a poll. If Flash turns out to be a hit and Ezra Miller looks to be trying to correct some of his actions, or at least apologize.
Their actions, correct some of their actions.
My apologies. Their actions.
I did the same thing the other day over the weekend talking about it. I get it. It's tough, but we're trying, and I'm sorry for anybody out there that just got ruffled at that. We're doing our best, damn it. So please just bear with us.
Well, thank you for correcting me. Since they identify as they them.
They them, yep.
They them. Okay, so Ezra, do you think this resolves their career?
I think it's a very important first step towards doing that. I don't think it's a one and done scenario at all.
I personally don't think the movie being financially successful will like just have any effect on like, because then you're gonna like end up pushing Ezra into doing this, and then
Yeah, I here's the thing. I mean, if they are legitimately,
I agree with both of you guys.
if Ezra Miller is legitimately getting the help that they need, which I hope is the case. Honestly, I think anybody wants to make sure that nobody's getting hurt, them or whoever they may be approaching or what have you. But they clearly have issues that need to be dealt with. That takes time. That's not something that happens in a few weeks or a couple months. It's a day-to-day thing. It's a day-to-day fight and struggle. And that's something that they need to, I think, truly gear up and prepare for the rest of their lives, essentially, for the rest of their lives / career.
Yeah.
But once again, I mean, I said on the last show, if we're willing to give Robert Downey Jr. like 17 different chances over the years with being getting in trouble for his addictions and then eventually going to jail and becoming a convict, and then he comes back and ends up becoming Tony Stark Iron Man, was one of the highest paid actors in all of Hollywood because of this gargantuan franchise. Why can't we do the same thing for Ezra Miller?
my thing is like, I don't think it. I had it in my head. I had a thought in my head and I just lost it. I hate that.
Oh, it's the worst.
I think we need to give them the time. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how like successful this is, I think that it's important that they have the time they need.
Yeah. I agree.
And not rushing it.
Yeah. Let things blow over. Let things.
It's not even
calm
about
down.
blowing over. It's not about forgiveness. It's about like doing what's right and healthy for them.
Yeah. Let him get the treatment he needs.
They.
Sorry.
Okay.
Grammar issue. Let they get the treatment. And then, pretty much everything they did, sweep that,
No. It's not about sweeping it. It's about confronting it and taking responsibility.
You're gonna carry that.
Exactly. It's like I was talking about with Spider-Man earlier. The actions that they took, they need to take responsibility for and incorporate that into how they behave and interact moving forward. And I think that's the first step that Ezra Miller's on. Now, I understand a lot of people out there like, oh, that's because he got called in and they had a big meeting with a bunch of rich executives that were telling him you better do this or your career is over. And they were just like, oh, well, I guess I better do this. Okay. You might honestly have a solid point, but that doesn't mean it won't be the first step towards them actually getting that help that they need, where they start, sometimes you've heard the term like fake it to make it.
Yep.
You do something enough to the point where you absorb it and you're like, oh, this is easy now. Like I can do this. It's not as insurmountable as it seemed when I was like kind of, flubbing my way through it and just making it seem like I knew what I was doing. And I think that may very well be the case, if at all, for Ezra Miller. Maybe it is just motivated by career and money at this junction. The actual motivation to stay healthy, to absorb the lessons they learn and incorporate them in their daily life, that's the part that we hope sticks.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So Ezra Miller, just fucking please get better. Don't hurt anybody. And for the love of God, don't fuck this movie up. Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
I agree. Well, you had a couple of the DC items.
I did.
Harley Quinn renewed for season 4.
Yes,
That's
I look
exciting.
forward to it. Yeah, I mean, it's a great show. It's a lot of fun, and it's really heartening, I think, and flies in the face of what a lot of people were saying about Warner Brothers Discovery, because they were like, oh, they're just going to get rid of every like animated thing, this, that, and the other thing, and there they are giving Harley Quinn season 4. I mean, if what a lot of people, and I'm not even talking about like, news source, quote, news sources or anything, just, quote, fan speculation. A lot of people were saying like, oh, well, that's the end. Like, we're not going to get anything new, and there's not going to be any of this, that, or the other thing. And Harley Quinn's gone. You can count on that. And there's the announcement today. So what the fuck do you know? Nothing. That's
Well, like we said earlier, it's a lot of negative naysayers,
yeah, all the negative Nancy's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's really cool because like I said, that show's a lot of fun. I mean, we still have to find out what's going on with Titans and Doom Patrol. If they were to cancel Titans, I wouldn't be heartbroken. But Doom Patrol, that is a fun, whacked out show. And I think if they can have Peacemaker on HBO and HBO Max, then that's definitely something that they can do for Doom Patrol. There's definitely potential for crossover audience with both of those shows for sure. The sensibilities of James Gunn with those of Grant Morrison that they pull from his comics of Doom Patrol for that show. There's got to be people that would absolutely watch both of those things. I know I'm one of them. So.
Well, another show which I still need to go back and watch, Stargirl, you said premieres tonight.
Indeed. I'm doing the show with you guys, so I was not able to watch the show tonight. I've really enjoyed it so far. It's been a very interesting take on like sort of a junior Justice Society. And they've had some pretty cool cameos, I guess is the word you would use, from the original Justice Society of America in the show. Joel McHale plays Starman, the second Starman
nice.
in the show. Not Wesley Dodd, but Sylvester Pemberton. And it's, I mean, Lou Ferrigno Jr. is in it as oh my god, is he? I think he's Wildcat, Ted Grant. Then you have Dr. Midnight. I mean, it's really done well. It's surprising that they were able to maintain like the quality level when they shifted it from DC Universe to the CW, but god damn it, they did it, man. Also like weirdly enough, the return of Luke Wilson. Like I hadn't seen him in anything. Yeah, he plays Pat Dugan, Stargirl's stepfather.
Oh wow.
In the show, yeah. Which is I got the biggest kick out of Owen Wilson being in Loki. I was like, all right, guys, come on. What are those conversations like? I want to know. Like, hey, I'm gonna be in a new show. Wow. Me too.
They get into a fight. At least I'm not in DC.
Fuck you. I'll fucking break your nose again so it looks normal. But yeah, it's done really well. It's got a lot of heart. I mean, there's some surprising inclusion too. They even have the Injustice Society in it. Solomon Grundy is in the show. It's awesome. I would if you're, especially if you're like a dyed in the wool comic book nerd,
Yeah.
check it out. Like there's plenty there. I mean, there's even an appearance by Jade, the Golden Age Green Lantern's daughter. And she gets a green ring in the show, man. Just saying. You know, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It really is. Like I said, check it out if you get the chance.
Solomon, I heard he was born on a Monday.
Yes, well, that's if you heard it from him, that makes sense because it's about all he fucking tells people. And speaking about giant fucking weird monsters and girls with green things, She-Hulk, anybody watch it last Thursday?
Shoki. Yeah.
Yes.
So as I said when we were pulling topics together, the topic I entitled it She-Hulk, Bruce in space. As soon I feel so bad for my wife sometimes because as soon as it shows them and he's flying away on that well, spoiler alert for anybody who hadn't seen She-Hulk, but the new episode's tomorrow night. If you haven't seen it now, it's on you. The Sakaran vessel clearly bringing him back to Sakaar.
Yeah.
At the very end, I'm like, okay, so I'm going to tell you all about a storyline called Planet Hulk.
I thought it was World War Hulk.
No, World War Hulk is when he shows
the
up
aftermath.
on Earth. It's the aftermath. It's the sequel to Planet Hulk.
Yes.
Planet Hulk is when he's on Sakaar and he finds
out,
not finds out. He's sent there by the Illuminati accidentally because their goal was to shoot him into space to a planet that was uninhabited but lush and beautiful and peaceful. He wouldn't hurt himself, no potential for him to hurt others, and he'd just be able to live out his life in peace, which is, the best of intentions. But you know what they say about the road to hell and how it's paved? Well, he ends up on Sakaar, which is basically just like a fucking dried out, war-torn, battle-hardened planet where they got a tyrant and everybody is just forced to like fight in these gladiator games. They pulled from that for Thor Ragnarok. And while Hulk is there, he becomes this big champion, all that, but it's still not like the childlike Hulk that you see in Ragnarok. He's cunning. He speaks full sentences. Like he is the Hulk, but not Bruce Banner at all. He knows what he's doing. And part of it is because he's staying the Hulk. He does remain the Hulk the entire time. So he kind of learns a bit more as he's going along too. And he finally manages to start up a rebellion, become the ruler of the planet himself, and then says, fuck this noise. I'm going home. And that's how World War Hulk occurs.
Yep. Because
but after World War Hulk, and this is where I think they're kind of combining things again, you're going to find out a little bit of, they're going to kind of do a little bit of that to show backstory in whatever the next Hulk project is. But essentially what we're going to find out is a large part of the reason why he's being called back to Sakaar is because he has a son.
Okay.
And he's half Hulk, half what's called Old Strong, which is like a lineage that's tied to the strength of the planet Sakaar itself. So this kid is half Hulk and also taps into the strength of Sakaar. And like I said, his name is Scar. It's Skaar. And there's going to be all kinds of crazy weirdness that arises because of that. I'm almost positive of it. But That's
So-
pretty much what's going down.
As long as he didn't have a kid via Old Man Logan.
Oh my god.
So let me.
Well, he
pick
did
your-
just leave the show She-Hulk, so
Yeah.
I think we can rule that out.
Let me pick your brains on this latest episode of She-Hulk. I don't know if you guys caught the Easter egg, but when Jen,
Wolverine confirmed. Wolverine confirmed.
Oh yeah, I did see that in the newspaper.
okay,
Is that all you? Is that what you were gonna say, Steve?
yeah,
Oh,
fuck you, Leo. I was.
Jesus.
I mean, I was also gonna mention Bruce Banner giving the fuck you to Edward Norton, but then
Well, he
Was it
didn't.
really though?
Yeah, I mean, I think people are kind of superimposing real world shit onto that. I don't think that they were shading anybody. Like he literally is a different person now. Like even within the context.
I just wanted to get it out before Leo cut me off.
but yeah, like even within the context of the past few movies, like he is literally a different person. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
the whole like, you know, I took the brains and I took the strength and I put them together. Like this is a very different Bruce than we had seen in the Avengers and Age of Ultron and what have you. So yeah, I mean, people can take it however they want, but you know, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, you know. Did anybody notice Ally McBeal
Yes.
on the show?
No.
The pilot episode of Ally McBeal, I believe it's the pilot episode anyway,
It
is
is.
playing in the bar that Jen was drinking at when she gets
Oh.
offered her new job. Yeah. Also, Lee, I noticed this because I'm a fucking giant What If Elseworlds nerd. But you see that guy who had the comic books in his office when she's walking around?
No.
No?
Yeah, I did.
I did.
Okay, so
I watched it twice too, and it was like,
yeah, dude. It's you have to look in his office. It's like a
Okay.
wall of comics. I think he's an Asian gentleman, I believe. Older, probably 50s or 60s, something like that. But he's got a wall of comics, which it's kind of cool to see. Like maybe Marvel or something like that does exist, and they try to document superhero stuff, or they've licensed certain things, or the government has their fingers in certain pies, like with Captain America comics. Here's the thing. I saw on the wall one of the comics is one of the ones that we're going to be covering on Comics Paradox in the very near future. It's the first part of a two-parter. What if Captain America was not the only super soldier in World War II? Like Erskine wasn't killed and other guys were able to also take the serum with Vita Rays. And it becomes Captain America and the Howling Commandos are all super soldiers in it. It's an awesome story. But I recognized the fucking from as far away as it was. I was like, I know that comic book. And it was just really cool to see. And I know it's also an implication of one of the characters in She-Hulk, because in that series there is a comic librarian that works down in the basement of that firm. They document comic book adventures as they are pulled and based off of the quote real world adventures of a lot of the heroes and villains that may end up needing legal protection. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of fun stuff so far, and I really am digging the fourth wall breaking narration. I mean,
Same.
I think
Yeah.
Tatiana Maslany does it very, very well, very seamlessly.
yeah. Yeah, I'm enjoying it as well.
I hate that it comes on Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm gonna voice my hate of that every time I can.
Yeah, well, Disney's the one that fucking was like, Wednesday's a new Friday, everybody. Like, this is what we're doing. And then they do that. I'm like, why even bother the first campaign, you assholes? Like,
Because Thursday is the new Wednesday.
Thursday's the new Sunday.
I guess it's because they want to slip in Andor on Wednesdays now. I don't know.
Whatever.
So
Yeah, well, you probably
just-
realized they screwed up with Miss Marvel and Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's why.
Yeah.
Hit Star Wars on Thursday.
But it's pretty cool in the show that it looks like Emil Blonsky can shift between Blonsky and Abomination.
Yeah.
That's not something that I've really seen before, because once he was the Abomination, he was always the Abomination. that was a definite downside for that character. What I'm most curious about though is how he keeps mentioning just wanted to go with his 7 soulmates and
Yeah.
live a carefree life. Like what? You're what?
I
It sounds
I
like a fucking team, pal.
I have a theory on that.
Yeah, it's the Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Val's trying to recruit him.
Yeah,
That's my theory. What's yours?
that was mine too.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I wanted it again before Leo interrupted me. I wanted to get it out.
Instead, I did. So sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
That's what my wife tells me. I mean, I think she's just being nice, but yeah, honestly, like I'm really curious to see what's happening with this Thunderbolts project that's clearly going to be arising soon.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that they've lined up the like sort of doppelganger versions of a lot of these heroes. I would very much like to not see it be Thunderbolts though, because Thunderbolts, as it was, and it was brilliantly constructed in the comic books, it was a group of supervillains that were making themselves appear to be a group of new superheroes. And what I'm hoping for is this is going to be a little bit more of a government / corporate sponsored Avengers. And that's how they're going to package it. That's how they're going to sell it.
Well,
You're
like
not going to hear.
Avengers or
Well, I don't think we should. I mean, it might be called Dark Avengers or something along those lines.
Supporting the Accords Avengers.
Ooh, West Coast Avengers.
well, no, Dark Avengers is like actual like a thing.
Yeah, no, I know.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean, Yo-Yo. Because that was Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
And that's what I think they're doing is they're combining the idea of what Norman Osborn did with Dark Avengers and what Thunderbolts was. I don't think that calling it Dark Avengers is like. I think that's.
I would feel kind of icky if they did personally.
Yeah, like it's not great. I don't like it for a number of reasons, but I'll just say first and foremost, just from a being an adult standpoint, being a human adult, Dark Avengers, as silly and problematic as that title is, makes, for lack of a better term, more sense as a comic book title.
Yeah.
I don't think you can legitimately say to yourself, let's just name it Dark Avengers. And like, that's what you're going to name your expensive ass show or movie or whatever. You want to just like put down the cocaine for a second and think about that one? Like just for a millisecond. And that may be why they call themselves Thunderbolts. Maybe they do say it in regards to General Thunderbolt Ross heading up the Sokovia Accords. They could play out. What's that?
How are they going to address him no longer being with us, though?
Well, that's what I'm going to say. He might be dead, and they might call themselves Thunderbolts in memory of him. That's the only thing that is making any sense to me.
Yeah.
I haven't read that anywhere. I haven't seen it brought up, but that's just kind of like my own headcanon, like moving forward. If they do something different, I hope it's good, but that's fine. But currently just looking at the story, I feel like they're combining Dark Avengers with Thunderbolts, and they're going to use the Thunderbolts title because William Hurt's no longer there and play into the fact that Ross likely passed away in the MCU as well. Like, and we are dedicating this team to the work he did on the Sokovia Accords to make sure the entire world was safe. Ladies and gentlemen, the Thunderbolts. I feel like I probably almost just said verbatim how they're going to first show this team together.
That or Great Lakes Avengers.
Oh, if only, man. I will leave this show right now. The Great Lakes Avengers.
I heard that in a song, and I'm like, that can't be real. And then I read a storyline where, holy crap, the Great Lakes Avengers showed up.
Oh yeah, man, for real. I bought like the GLA miniseries, and I was like, oh, what a fun and ridiculous little tale. That was great,
They showed up. It was was it the WandaVision storyline?
Disassembled, you mean? In the comics?
I think that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. WandaVision was a show by the MCU.
No, I know
Leo.
WandaVision was a show, but I mean the storyline with
Avengers Disassembled.
Yeah.
And then House of M. Yeah. I think they did a semi tie-in. It was GLA Disassembled, and it's silly. That's where I first really. I think on the periphery, I understood. I knew who Squirrel Girl was, but it wasn't until I read Great Lake Avengers that I had any adventure of hers in front of me. And that's why, years later, when it was like, Squirrel Girl's the best. I'm like, what is wrong with everyone? What is happening right now? She is like, does best mean something different for people younger than me? I don't get it. Because it seems like it means the opposite. But they keep saying it with such enthusiasm and fervor. Is this sarcasm? No, they mean it? This is sincerity? Holy shit, no, she is not. But yeah, like I think we'll likely see them turn into, be presented as the Thunderbolts because of all of those reasons. I think it's a great way to combine the Dark Reign. Is it Dark Reign? That what was it? No, Siege and shit. Whatever. Norman Osborn did his whole fucking thing where he became Iron Patriot and yada yada, and they already cherry picked that for Iron Man 2. They're not above doing that to themselves, and I understand why not. It's their shit. They can do whatever the fuck they want with it. But without having a Norman Osborn in your MCU, and certainly not one that's been established long enough to be considered like a big heavy threat. I think it makes more sense to set up somebody more mysterious and clandestine like Val, Tessa, and have them played by somebody as beautiful and talented as Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Like, you guys got fucking Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Angela Bassett in the same fucking franchise playing these badass women. Like, phenomenal. Thank you.
Well, on that note, I think we should wrap it.
One last thing. Matt Shakman, the director of WandaVision, is likely going to be the director of the Fantastic Four movie.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, like, it's legitimate. He's been in talks, and they're just like kind of finalizing the whole thing. So there's still no real announcement altogether on casting. Like I said, it's going to take getting the helm taken care of first. And funny enough, I've recognized the name Matt Shakman. I've seen it at the beginning of every episode of WandaVision. And I also saw it a lot on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia when I watched the show. He directed a lot of episodes. I didn't realize until I saw him regarding this whole Fantastic Four thing. I saw a photo of him that I've known who that fucking guy is since I was like a little kid. He played the brother in the Growing Pains spinoff, Just the 10 of Us.
No shit.
Just the 10 of Us was a Growing Pains spinoff?
Yeah. You didn't? The coach, the father?
Yeah.
He was the coach at Mike's high school.
Yep.
Wow.
And then he took a job at St. Ignatius, whatever. Blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
Okay. Yeah.
And they were offering free tuition for all of his kids too. And he was like, I have to take this because I got fucking 8 kids. So, and one of the cool things about it too is like 3 of the daughters in the show were all in different Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Heather Langenkamp, of course, being one of them. Brooke Thies was in part 4. She's the one that's turned into a cockroach when she's working out.
Yeah.
Nah, you know what it was? It was my twisted brain. I was actually thinking of 8 is enough.
Fair enough. I got you. But yeah, he was the brother on that show, and apparently he got behind the camera, and he's been crushing it for television, especially over the years. And I'd say he absolutely did a phenomenal job with WandaVision. I really enjoyed the whole execution and concept of that. And we're gonna start seeing casting stuff pop up. Keep your eyes peeled over the next like 2 to 3 weeks, especially as we get in the next week and a half, Steve, to D23.
September 9th, 10th, and 11th, whatever.
Yeah.
the fuck it is.
Yeah, so
Weekend.
another week and a half.
The weekend you're going to fucking Virginia. That's
Yeah.
Yeah. So like there's gonna be I mean, and Tom's saying it right now. I mean, I predict that we'll hear something about Fantastic Four next week on D22. It's D23, but yeah,
Now D22 is the pre-show.
Is it?
No.
Oh, fuck you, Leo. I'm like, I don't pay enough attention to Disney to fucking have
Disney-
working knowledge of that bullshit.
Disney Plus Day is like day one of D23, and they're gonna announce shit
Disney
that
Plus
day.
Day is September 8th, and I think like the big D23 day, the Disney day is the 9th.
Yeah.
There's speculation in some corners of the dork web right now about Reed Richards. I've seen Penn Badgley's name recently, which is like, okay, I get it, like I can see it, but I don't know him well enough to say one way or the other. Like, I think the only movie I've ever seen him in really was Easy A, where he plays the guy that Emma Stone's character likes or whatever. But the other name I did see, which I was intrigued by, because I was kind of kicking myself. I brought it up in like conversation one time, and I just kind of like pushed it out of my own head and never thought about it again. But considering how successful, I should say how talented she is, the fact that she was on a very well received show that stemmed from BBC America and was just in a very successful movie with Ryan Reynolds, Jodie Comer as Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman.
Yeah,
I was like, I saw it and I was like, oh, other people are saying this. Wait a minute. And I said, something earlier to my wife, and we were both saying like, oh, that would be a very good pick. She is believable insofar as like how forceful and intelligent she would be on screen. I don't think you'd have to worry about an attractive blonde woman seeming like she's there for eye candy and is clearly actually an airhead in real life. But I personally Penn Badgley, whatever. That seems like a very square head like selection to me. I'm good.
Well, it's not Krasinski, so
yeah, I mean, so that would be a plus in his case for me. I'm fine with it not being Krasinski. Like, I still think that was just Kevin Feige and Marvel's way of saying like, hey, we did give it to you, so it was fun. He enjoyed doing it for a little bit. Now let's get to the actual story we want to tell. Like,
I still think he would be a better older Franklin Richards.
Fair enough. Honestly, I can dig that. I would have no problem with that at all, especially because there must be some kind of like genetic thing going on, because look at the similarity between a variant of that particular character and a descendant of that particular character. Like that would be kind of cool to see play out in some kind of conversation for sure.
Definitely a descendant of spaghetti.
Fuck.
Well, on that note,
yeah.
I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening. For me, just Google Leo Pond. You find a bunch of stuff. Could be true, could be not. I'm not going to say which is which, but I run a Dorkening podcast network. We got a ton of shows on a network, a lot of awesome people doing a lot of awesome stuff. So head on over to thedorkening.com. You can see all the shows there, their latest episodes. And with that, yo
St. Laurent on Instagram. It's pretty much all I'm really doing at the moment.
Okay. You're going to be switching Instagram to, I hear photographers are going to Vero.
Maybe. We'll see.
Okay. Let me know how it is.
We'll do.
Steven.
You can follow the award-winning Super Retro Throwback Reviews on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and follow Super Retro Throwback Reviews on all major podcasts and distributors and the Dorkening Podcast Network and Patreon. And I'm here every Wednesday, depending if work is not holding me up, but I'm here every Wednesday on the Dorkening. So
awesome. For Brandon.
Hey everybody, why don't you come on over to the Facebook group Powers Combined? We just a bunch of dorks over there trying to have fun, share info, memes, laughs, good times to be had by all. Our number one rule there is don't be a jerk. If you violate it, you will be booted immediately. You can follow me on Twitter at Brandon's Powers and on Instagram at this Brandon Has Powers. And also, if you feel so inclined, check out the two podcasts, The Dork Night and Comics Paradox, both coming out every other week. Dork Night one week, Comics Paradox the other week on Sundays at 8 a.m. wherever fine podcasts are broadcast. Dork Night covers all things Batman with me, Leo Pond, and Justin Cooper. And Comics Paradox covers alternate reality tales and takes such as What Ifs and Elseworlds, different story arcs like Amalgam Comics. And we just dissect and have a lot of fun talking about them. So, like I said, check them out.
Awesome. I like that wherever podcasts are broadcast.
You're welcome. That one's for free.
We'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye, everybody.